Rodri here, guys. And today, after my 2 to 3 week hiatus that I was doing in observance of Togashi Hiatus Day, and in case you guys don't know what that is, I'll leave a link down to a video Zoro fanboy did. I'm back to talk about the latest Attack on Titan chapter. Uh, it, Great chapter, a lot of answers, a lot of questions going on in the author's mind. And the way he answers them is interesting. So today I decided to do a lengthy discussion video just on this one chapter alone. I'm going to cover every point, or all the major points. And so, yeah, let's start. And then the first major point, of course, is the discussion between Erwin and Pixis. And this whole discussion centers around the idea of overthrowing a monarch and how you go about doing it. How do you go about overthrowing a tyrant, someone who has established this entire system, and in what ways can we, or can, in that case, they overthrow him without causing too much violence and bloodshed. Okay, and so when he's talking to Pixis, Pixis is well aware of the repercussions that will occur if they don't go about doing this carefully. Because what happens is that the king is protected. He's surrounded by a ton of wealthy, powerful people who are looking out only for their own interests, who are profiting from being so close to the king. So if the king is taken out, these guys, they'll lose all their power, they'll lose all their wealth, because new guys are in power. The new people will step up to the throne, and these guys won't be relevant again. So it's in these guys' best interest for the king to stay in power. Okay, what happens if the king goes? They're going to be really angry. They're going to be mad. So what's going to end up happening is that these people are gonna they're gonna want their power back. So they're going to fight against the people who overthrew the king. So there's going to be war. There's going to be war by overthrowing a king. So there's going to be war to overthrow the king. There's going to be war after. And Pixis is very well aware of this. This powerful group of people, that's sort of like a ring of protection around the king. That's why all powerful people they give out money, and they give out interest and stuff. They give out goods and services so that they can be protected from from outside people, from people who don't like them or who don't think they belong in that spot. So Pixis knows this, and he's willing to go along with his plan, with Erwin's plan, if he finds a good solution that doesn't involve just going out, taking the king out, and that's it. So, Erwin says, "Don't worry, look, man, I got a solution." And so I was really curious because I was hoping to see some sort of creative way in which they could go about doing this, because he even said that hopefully there won't be any, I don't expect there to be any casualties, any deaths. So I was like, I was hoping to see some sort of creative way. Now, the way he answers it, as we see later on at the end of the chapter, I'm going to talk about that right now. It was both disappointing for me personally, but at the same time, we did get a huge piece of information, so it's fine. I was willing to go with it. And the answer is, like I said, disappointingly, you replace the king with an heir, a proper heir to the throne. Okay. The reason this is disappointing is because this is the answer we always get. I mean, in One Piece, we've seen it twice. We saw it with Vivi and Alabasta. Once you take down Crocodile, you put Vivi back. We're seeing it now in the current arc. I'm not going to spoil it for the anime-only watchers, but there's a similar plan going about in the current chapters of One Piece. We'll see it, in other places, such as the one I can think of is in Code Geass. I believe they put Nanali. She's the rightful heir to the throne, or they replace her. Once the main guys are taken out. So that's not an answer that is very creative. I'm not saying that he's not creative, the author's not creative. I'm saying it's the typical answer that I would expect, and I was really hoping to see a different answer, because what happens if there is no proper heir to the throne? Then how do you go about overthrowing a monarch? You know, do you have to have all that bloodshed? And I was hoping to see some sort of a solution that didn't involve that or the this or the or that. So disappointed there, but at the same time, we did get the big reveal that the big secret around the Reese family is that they are the actual royal family. So what that exactly means? Are they related to the king? Have they been ostracized from that community, from the from the royalty, or are they ostracized, or are they separated because they're hiding, or are they actually controlling everything? So that wasn't explained. I assume because of actually I can't assume. I really can't assume anything at this point. So I'm gonna wait and see until later chapters. Again, I don't really want to make any guesses or assumptions yet. But that was the first part. That was the first part. It's the whole dialogue of how do you overthrow a monarch without casualties, and doing it in the best possible way. With the answer of you're replacing it with a proper heir is the best answer to do that. So that was the entire first part of the chapter. I mean, very interesting, very detailed conversation. And so after that's over, I'm just clicking through the pages. The next part is actually also part of this conversation, but it ties into the later part of the chapter, which is the whole flashback of Erwin and his father, where we actually get a ton of new information, or not new information, but we get a ton of confirmation. His father being a teacher, Erwin was very curious, okay, and his father pretty much spilled the beans on what's really going on, or at least his idea of what's going on, his thoughts. And one of the main things that I was really curious about is the fact, it's something that I had been wondering about for the entire series. It's the people's memories. Even though stuff isn't, you go to school, right? And you read your history book. You read how supposedly things went down, but then later on you grow up and you hear a different side from someone who actually was there, who actually experienced that historical moment, and you realize that not everything is the way they tell you. And the reason you figure that out is because someone verbally told you, like they said, "Hey, look, this is how it really went down." I mean, it doesn't have to be even a historical thing. It could be, a fight that went down at your school the other day, or just some random event that happened. The party. How was the party? Someone told you this, and someone else told you that. Word of mouth is what I'm trying to say. People pass things down through word of mouth. And so what was curious to me throughout the entire series, which is actually answered in this chapter, is even though it's prohibited to read books or to have books that talk about the outside world, it's prohibited to talk about the outside world pretty much at all. How is it that no one really knows anything about it? Because even it's 107 years. It's only a couple. It's like 2 to 3 generations, maybe 4. There's definitely stuff that's going to be passed down from generation to generation through word of mouth. I mean, that's communication. That's how it started. In the early days of civilization, and that's our early stories. A lot of our current stories are actually go all the way back to stories that people would pass on to word of mouth, origin stories about the universe, and so on and so forth. So that was curious to me throughout the entire series. Is how is it that no one really? I mean, people should know. It's only been 107 years. People should have some sort of something that's been passed down. At least some people should know. Again, my theory about what's in the basement is it's a library full of information that maybe people from various parts of the walls gathered together to write or something. But in this chapter, we do figure out, or we don't figure out, but it's his father believes that there is some sort of memory alteration. Now, of course, we've seen memory alteration tons of times. Aaron's father, the 2 recent flashbacks from recent chapters with that mysterious lady, both with Eren and with Historia. Uh, their dreams that feel so real. I mean, we saw Eren had the key after his dad flashback with his dad. So obviously something physically did happen for him to have the physical key on him, but no one knew about it. No one remembered it. Was it the serum that's the memory altercation? Is that how they do it? And we also figure out about that he in fact does confirm that humans and Titans are biologically connected. I mean, again, this is all stuff that we already knew, but it's confirmation. It's confirmation as I mean, it's not 100% confirmation, but it's like 99% confirmation because now we're hearing it from a different source, someone who it's his own theory, and then Erwin grows up and sees that his dad is possibly on the right or probably on the right track. So humans are biologically connected, is what he says. Yeah, I'm going through the chapters, kind of page by page, so I try not to miss anything. So yeah, so that's the main part about that part of the story. Humans being able to control Titans. Again, something we've seen multiple times. So, that's the whole conversation with Pixis, and in the end, we do get the big reveal that the Reese family is the proper family. That'll probably will convince Pixis enough to go to the other side. The other thing that also convinced Pixis that I forgot to mention is that Pixis knows that even if there might be a 1% chance that the reason the government wants Eren is for the good of the people, for their security, for their safety, to maintain the safety that supposedly has been around for 100+ years, and that's something that's all even if it's a 1% possibility, it is possible. And Pixis, in order for him to take the risk, has to be 100% certain that he's doing the right thing. Otherwise, it could end up backfiring, and he'll have to live with the conscience of doing something wrong for the rest of his life, even though he's very old. And so, again, we do get another confirmation that the people who want Eren are in fact evil. They're looking out for their own wealth, their own power, like I was talking about earlier, and that's normal. That's what we know. That's what happens to people, who are around a powerful person. They tend to hang out with the same group of people. People who have money always want more money, and so on and so forth. So, Erwin actually did confirm that when he went to talk to the people in charge, they did in fact were only out for themselves. So that was enough of confirmation, I believe, for Pixis to. I think he's going to say yes in the next chapter. Yes, I will help you out. I will leave the garrison and enlist under you as a soldier, because he doesn't feel good putting up a soldier versus another soldier. Now, if what Erwin says is true and there will be no casualties, then he might actually still help as the leader of the garrison. So that's going to be interesting to see in the next chapters to come. Okay, now the next part is the whole interrogation scene. Now this is again very, very interesting. It's kind of ironic that Hannes is pretty much what's happening to him is what he's been doing to people for his entire life. And I want to talk about Hannes's or Sonnes's or Sane's or whatever. I don't know how you say it, but I want to talk about his character type and what he represents in society. What kind of character he represents in society. Obviously you can relate him to characters like like the government dog is what they're often called. People who are 100%, their loyalty is 100% to the government. They believe that the government does everything they do is for the good of the people, and a lot of these people are they're sort of brainwashed. They're going when you go to the military or when you go to not the military. I mean, I just people are kind of conditioned. I don't want to say brainwash is not the right word. They're conditioned by society to for their loyalty to be either in one place or the other. The society doesn't really allow us to have loyalties in various places. So very early on, from very early ages, people are conditioned to have their loyalty set to their government, to their people, to their country, to it, so on and so forth. So these Sans is a perfect example of this character. He's being tortured. He's not going to say a single thing. He's not going to betray his government because he believes the government is doing the right thing, even though anyone with common sense would know that peace through violence is a paradox. It makes no sense. Peace through violence. It's a contradiction of it in and of itself. But people don't respond to that kind of thing after they've been conditioned by the system. They don't realize. I'm really getting off track here. The main thing I'm trying to say is this is very interesting. That the trick that they play on him, I really am. I'm wondering how loyal was his friend, because of course his friend had to throw it up to his knife. They made him read the paper and read the statement right in front of Sans, even though he didn't know that they were reading it. But I don't know how loyal. I mean, Sans was willing to die. He was willing to die before he spilled out anything. But his friend, he ended up caving in and actually reading the note. I wonder if Sans would have actually read the note. I don't think so, because they actually could have flipped the roles and have Sans read it and the other guy tortured. But I do believe that Sans is kind of like the epitome of this watchdog character. I mean, this goes all the way back to Plato. You have kids that are that are kind of, when the kids are born, they're picked and choose. These go to the military, these go into society and civilization. Kids that go in the military, or they grow up without parents, and their parents are the country, are their fellow military men, and that's really that's how that, I don't want to say brainwashing, that conditioning, that's how that trauma-based mind control starts going, and they, to the point where by the end of this chapter, we realize that he knows he's done wrong, but he can't get himself to admit that he's done wrong, because the only way you can commit all these tortures is to trick yourself, or to be in the state of thinking that what you're doing is correct and the best for your country. So you have a lot of complex psychological things going on right now with Sanes, and when someone's in that kind of state, they took full advantage of it, and they broke him. They broke him by taking his former friend. Like I said, they think of themselves as family, and his family pretty much betrayed him and his country. So that broke him. That broke the man and allowed him to spill the beans on what's really going on. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is a whole thing that's going on with Armin, because right now in this chapter there is a very complex psychological thought process going on in his head that really involves him letting in some dark thoughts about what they're really doing, and their way, in what ways they can go about actually accomplishing their mission. And so this is something that happens to someone when they commit a crime, for instance. Once they commit a crime, what's stopping them from committing the second crime? And then once they commit the second crime, what's stopping them from committing the third crime? Well, you might say that crime is bad, it's an evil thing, so that's why they wouldn't do it. But if you think about it, what incentives do they have to not committing another crime in their life? Because if they committed a big crime, they're going to be a criminal for the rest of their life, whether they like it or not. Society is going to see them as a criminal. And so whether they committed 10 more crimes or 0 more crimes or 100 more crimes, it doesn't matter. They're still going to be considered a criminal. And so this is a trap that people can fall into very easily if they don't have a strong sense of morality, a strong sense of support. Because in this chapter, Armin's sliding down that trap, but thankfully he has, his friends there to tell him, look, man, watch what you're saying. Like, you're starting to scare us. Because Armin, he's starting to doubt whether or not they can actually do this without killing anyone. He's saying he's starting to believe that it's going to be inevitable for people to die, for bloodshed, for blood to be spilled. So that, along with the fact that that he's scheming up this plan where he actually manipulates the population, which this is the complete opposite of what they want to be doing, because then they'd be lying to people who've already been lied to for 100 years. That's not, again, that's the paradox. You don't want to, evil plus evil is not equal good. That's not how it works. So thankfully his friends are there, and they're kind of worried, but he's like, Armin's like, oh, don't, like, just a thought, but he continues on. So it is actually, now I'm thinking about it, this actually could be foreshadowing for Armin's character, but I really doubt it, seeing as how the author has said that the main characters will, I believe, stay alive till the end of the series. But could be foreshadowing. Armin, maybe goes down a deep path, a dark path, maybe. So yeah, very, very very complex thought processes going on with a lot of these characters. But in the event, arms will be directed against all the citizens, and any number of tragedies will occur. When you consider all humanity, there's no helping it. If only we could shift responsibility to a significant event of the world government or the military police, then we, the Survey Corps, could come in like the heroes, could enter the stage like heroes, and give the impression that the Survey Corps is absolutely necessary. Then sure, the population will be easier to be fooled, or will be easier to fool. And this is the exact trap that I'm talking about. Armin pretty much falling into that mentality of, well, we're already bad, we're already seen as the enemy, so we can pull some underhanded tricks. We can let's try to fool that's a possibility. We could try to fool the populace, and that is exactly what the other, that's what the people that are fighting against, that's what they are doing. So in while all this stuff is going on, his thoughts are kind of leading him to become what he's actually fighting against, and that's the scary part. Because you don't, the whole point of this is to let the truth come out, not to fool more people, not to fool people who are already being fooled. That's going to make things worse. He's also saying that he believes that arms will be directed against the citizenry and any number of tragedies will occur. So he's already being pessimistic, thinking about the casualties, the number of people that are, he's saying it's going to be inevitable, instead of saying, look, let's try to do this in the best way possible. Let's try to do this without killing anyone. And sorry about the dogs. I'm almost done here. Of course, everyone looks at him like, the same exact look that they gave him, the same exact thoughts that went into my mind when I was reading this chapter. And he's like, and he kind of just like shakes it off. And I'm like, oh, I'm just saying, kind of like he's just saying this is what my thought process is going on in my head. But at the same time, it's that's where I feel like he was falling into a trap. Had his friends not been there to stop him from keeping his thoughts going on, he might have actually went down that road. So, and then they joke around saying, "Did you get corrupted by being played with by that pervert?" So, and then like, no, he's been dark all along. He's been a dark, devious type all along. So, yeah, he was kidding, but yeah, he says here, but we're already criminals. Again, that's what I'm trying to say. Once you're already a criminal, what stops you from committing another crime? So, really, really, this chapter has a ton of questions. The author's asking himself a ton of questions, and he's giving us his answers. And he's also kind of giving us the wrong answer. He's giving us answers and then giving us answers to respond to those answers, because of course this answer is kind of like the first level. It's the level 1, then level 2 is, let's not try to be like our enemies, because that's what we're falling into. So, it's a multi-tiered system of answers that we're getting in this chapter, and that's why I really, really enjoy this chapter. Really had to do a discussion on it. And so let me just finish up this topic, and I think that's going to be it. Yeah, we're not good guys. Exactly, we're not good guys anymore. He says it again. Again, he's falling into that trap. So yeah, I don't want to go on any longer. The Reese family is a true royal family. That is the the final point of this chapter. will Pixis join as the leader of the garrison, or will he join under Erwin? That's yet, well, we have to see. Is is Historia and the Reese family hiding, or are they really in control of everything, or are they actually at the forefront, but no one really knows that they're the main royal family? Hopefully we'll see that in the next couple chapters. Yeah, until next time. If you guys like these videos, subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.